McCandless on his way towards Denali National Park gets picked up and dropped off at the Stampede Trail. Alex, on the way of fulfilling his destiny, runs into someone named Westerberg, who is a quiet, friendly guy as he allows McCandless to sleep in the trailer when it rained. He later then insisted to give him a place to stay and even a job because he knew McCandless was a very intelligent and interesting person. Later on, things went downhill as Westerberg had to serve a sentence for pirate television series. Only 2 weeks after meeting McCandless, McCandless could have had a really easy life as his parents offered to pay for his law school and even used the $24K in his college funds for his car. But McCandless denied it and donated it all towards a charity called Oxfam. Knowing this, we realized that McCandless values both charity and his own thinking. All McCandless wanted was a long, happy, fulfilled life where he could live freely and live life to the fullest. McCandless was not only a hard worker, but never gave up easily. He would work hard countless hours at McDonald's in Las Vegas, but the employees noticed that even though he worked hard, he smelled very bad. McCandless knew this and tried to avoid contacting people because he didn't have a working shower and didn't want people to realize it. McCandless then goes on denying most help offered to him, such as warm clothes and free stuff. McCandless just wanted to continue his life fully without the help of others. The chemist found that indeed the raw potato seeds contain the amino acid that causes lethargy, so Chris McCandless may indeed have died of starvation. Cracker Inc. concludes in a long article in the week's New Yorker, and shortly thereafter he died.
Okay, so it's my turn. The body found on the bus is reported in the New York Times, and officials try to find who the body is. Galeon gave the officials info on how he gave Chris a ride to the forest. Wayne Westward called saying he knew McCandless, but officials didn't believe him at first. After Wayne told him Chris's social security number, that's hard to say, they concluded that the body was Chris. They contacted Sam, Chris's brother from Walt's first marriage, and Walt, who was the one who conveyed the rest of the family that Chris was dead. From a humble background, musical talent was passed down to both the kids. Walt worked for NASA, but ended up starting a life with his company, which is, I don't know how that went. Walt bought Corinne a dog named Buckley, but Chris ended up becoming more close to it. Chris had asked to take Buck on the trip, but his parents refused because Buck had just been through an accident. But Corinne and the rest of the family think that if Chris had taken the dog with him, he probably would have not taken that many risks. That summer, Chris went on a trip to Mexico, Arizona, and the Pacific Coast. He got lost in the Mojave Desert and suffered dehydration. I mean, it's a desert. You might need water in a place where there's no water. And he graduated. After his freshman year in college, Chris wrote software for Walt's company that boosted their profits. Talk about putting his education to use, but he can't take a water bottle into the desert. Okay. Chris' relationship with his parents was good until he found out about his father's past. Chris' family grieving for him. Corinne was heartbroken and goes to Alaska with Sam to retrieve the body. John says that he thinks Chris' death was unplanned and an accident. John talks about the one time that the author talks about the time he set out to climb Devil's Thumb. But Devil's Thumb was proved to be hard at the end of the chapter, almost giving up because the weather was too rough. Which makes total sense. I mean, I wouldn't want to climb a cliff in the first place, let alone in harsh weather conditions. Like, come on, it's cold. Many people thought that McCandless was wrong about killing the moose, and that he actually killed a caribou. But Chris ended up being right. Everyone agrees that Chris is smart, but he just wasn't prepared enough for his first and last time. I know, harsh joke. He did okay for surviving, if only the degree he graduated with wasn't all in vain. Oh my god, this better get it out. Chris resulted to eating wild potatoes and sweet pea seeds. John Crocker thought that it was these seeds and potatoes that poisoned him, causing the death to decline. It's like eating rotten flesh in Minecraft. Not relevant, but it's kind of the same as it depletes your health, so the potato that's poisonous would do the same. Later, after several years, the author found out that it wasn't the seeds, but it was mold that grew on the seeds that provided the chemicals and the result in starvation. I mean, come on. It's that cold. It's Alaska. And you bite into a poisonous potato. Like, he went to college. I don't know. I don't believe it. Although Walt remarks that Alaska has a certain beauty, he also pronounces, "I have a lot of reasons for disliking Alaska," okay? To Villiers remarks that Chris must have loved it there. Loved it here. Walt and Billy never said they found out what happened to their son turned his back on him, although many people have told Billy that they admire Chris for what he was trying to do, which is backpacking and ultimately dying on a bus. She feels only terrible loss. She says, "The fact that Chris is gone is a sharp hurt I feel every single day. It's going to be harder for the rest of my life." And, yeah, that's essentially what the book was. And the memoir really stood out to us because of the risks, forgiveness, and the danger inherent that really comes along the way. Okay, no, that last part, I really need you to cut.
How about new?